you want to become somebody who runs their own business, then you must be willing to deal with it. Do something out of at least once a month. Best thing for an entrepreneur, being able to listen to what a client is saying and be able to realize what the client needs and sell it to them. Welcome to the Ethel Cofie Startup School. My name is Ethel Cofie. So if you are new to us today, welcome. Welcoming everybody that's watching us right now. You're welcome to the Startup School. If you're new, I'm going to share a little bit about what we're not and what we are. If you come back every week to catch us on the show, thank you for joining in and thank you for listening to us. Now, for those that are new, I always have to repeat this so that everybody understands what the program is about. For those that are new, the Ethel Cofie Startup School is not a motivational entrepreneur program. We're not about a feel-good, sort of happy-go-lucky, you can do it entrepreneur program. No, we're a practical, if you were MBA in entrepreneurship, truly looking at the things that you need to be able to start, grow, and scale your business, and telling the truth about how difficult entrepreneurship is and the things that need to be done to get you to the next level. So that's what it is not, and that's what it is. We're practical MBA in entrepreneurship. The plan is to be able to touch thousands of people across Africa with the entrepreneur message. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now, for those of you that have just joined us, I want to say that if you know anybody that you think that might actually enjoy the program or might benefit from the program, I would love you to tag them in the comments, so in the live stream comments, so that they can be aware of the program, or you can even share it in your timeline so that you will be the cool person that has all the, all the information and that points people in the right direction. So you're welcome. Now, as we do, if you listen to the show before or watch the show before, as we do every week, we give away a book. So this week, you all know I love the Harvard Business Review book. So this week, I'm giving away the book on leadership. We all know why we need leadership as entrepreneurs. It's important that you learn how to lead your team, how to lead yourself. I think the hardest thing is how to lead yourself. This morning, I was invited to a CEO-only breakfast, and it was about 10 or 15 CEOs that lead organizations in different ways. And the conversation at the end of the day culminated into leadership is hard. Leadership is lonely because you're out there doing it by yourself and you need all the help that you can get. So the HBR book on leadership will be one of the things that will support you. Now, how do you win the book? So if you listen intently throughout the program, at the end of the program, I will ask a question. And the question will be related to everything that I've said in today's program. And the first person to answer it and answer it correctly will get to pick up the book from the Pulse Ghana Ringier offices in East Legon. Is it East Legon or Adrian Ghana? I'm not sure, but East Legon, somewhere in Ghana. So listen intently. I would say, grab a paper and pen, write stuff down. It's meant to be an interactive learning session. So great. So last week, this month, we'd actually been looking at sales. And we started with the 2 weeks ago, we're done persuasion, how to learn persuasion skills so that you can sell. And then last week, we talked about creating your sales lists or finding your dream target of customers. And I'd wanted to tag the sales weaponry and the sales tools and methods, but apparently we ran out of time, and we ran out of time quite quickly. So this week, we're looking at what I call identifying your sales weaponry. right? So this is a war. Business is war. Entrepreneurship is war. So identifying your weapons, the weapons that you need to go into this sales war and to win. So I'm going to talk through the different stages and the different things that you need, and talk a little bit about how I use them and how I experience them. So the first thing that you need, or the first thing that is in your your set of sales weaponry, is the art, your sales story, right? So the art of the sale, your sales story. Now the sales story is very, very important, because whatever thing you choose to use at the end, whether you want to do digital marketing or face-to-face or traditional marketing, having a strong sales story will help carry the message. That's the core message. That's what convinces people to buy from you. So in that sales story, you want to address what the client issues are. What are the pain points that you remove? What are the results obtained from the customer by working with you? What are the problems that you solve for the customer? And also you need to talk about your offerings, or what you sell, you know, and then you need to talk about what differentiates you. So those three things matter when you're crafting your sales story. And that sales story will go into your marketing material, whether you're doing an email campaign, it will go into that email campaign, or even if you're in the face-to-face meeting. So I want to give a quick example. Now I'll use my company, Ethel Cofie Consulting. So what the first thing is, what are the issues that clients, we address for clients? We are, you know, so when I'm in a meeting, I know, for instance, the first issue I'm addressing is I'm addressing waste of resources on spending on technology assets that don't bring return on investment, right? So I'm saying I'm trying to save you money so that you don't spend money on a piece of digital software or a piece of technology software that does not bring you ROI. I'm also trying to solve the problem of trying to figure out what's your IT strategy or digital strategy, or what path you should take to use technology innovation to grow your company, right? So those are the two things I'm fixing. What are my offerings? So that's the second thing. What are my offerings? IT consulting is one of the offerings, and then you'll say customer relationship management software is one of the other offerings, right? So you talk about what you address, then you talk about your offering, and then what differentiates you from the next person, because you're not the first person to go and sell to them, to be honest. So what differentiates us? You start and say, we have the very best in the industry working with us. We care about you, getting you a return on investment rather than just plugging in technology into your company. So we work with you not only on a technology level, but we work with you on a marketing level, on a sales level. So in that conversation, I'm sitting in front of that customer. In that conversation, the 10, 15, 20-minute conversation, I would have been clearly explained to the customer what I bring. And that's what you should sit down and actually write it out. Sit down and write it out so that you're clear on what your sales story is. It could be something that has happened to you personally. For instance, at my foundation, Women in Tech Africa, I always tell the story of being from a family where my mother had 2 girls, and how I saw my mother being treated because she had 2 girls. And I grew up understanding that I needed to build a place of leadership for women, so that women would be seen as also relevant in our community. So that's my story around my foundation. And I built Women in Tech Africa because this is something I wanted to solve. See, that's my sales story. So when I'm talking to head of corporate social responsibility of a bank, or I'm talking to the head of corporate social responsibility of a foundation, or, you know, I know this is my story, this is what I'm going to say. It's very clear. So sit down and write what your sales story is. Then there are different ways to sell, right? So a lot of people were hammering, when I was actually trying to put together the content, a lot of people were hammering me about talking about digital sales. So I would talk about digital sales. I would break it down to different parts. I would talk about email campaigns and sales through email, and then I would talk about sort of social selling, your media, social media, that sort of thing. So let's start with emails, digital sales, email campaigns. Now, I've used email campaigns very, very effectively. I over the last couple of months used a marketing automation tool, and I said this last week, where this year about 20-25 people that I talked to that didn't end up buying from us, I put all of them in an email campaign. And that email campaign, it's a set of about 6 or 7 emails that goes out every week, which, yes, I try to sell to them the sale didn't come through, but I do still want that relationship with them as they go into the next year planning, strategy, and budgeting, right? So every week I send them a little information on business innovation and technology that helps their business. How do you make sure that you can provide effective customer service with technology? How do you make sure you can increase sales using technology? Do you see a trend there? So that even if they don't want to buy from us now, in maybe next year we would have provided them enough value that they feel that we're a company that's worth working with. So a few steps in building an email campaign: build a workable list. We talked about lists last week. Create a workable list of people that you need to email. I always get the interns in my company to do this. So they will, like, Ghana's top 100 or whatever companies that we want to sell to. And then you go on LinkedIn and you find the name of the CEO of the company, the name of the IT manager or the CIO in the company, maybe the name of head of operations in the company, because those are the groups of people we talk to. There are different tools online that you can use to then find the emails, and then you create your list. 100, I really think minimum 100. 200, 300 gives you a better chance of reaching more people. Then when the email itself that you're sending out, provide clarity as to why the person is receiving the email, right? So the Ethel Cofie Startup School has a 10-week free entrepreneur email campaign. And what people get there is a weekly 10-week campaign, 10-week email campaign where every week they get a snippet of how to build your business. So over 10 weeks, you have sort of a school. Maybe you might not have time to watch me, or you're busy or whatever it is. You get an email with a little write-up and a short video. So by the 10 weeks, you're automatically learning something, right? So whoever signs up knows exactly what you're getting. Be very, very clear. Sometimes it is you're offering somebody a free download, right? Be very clear what it is you're giving them, or that you're giving them white papers or ebooks or whatever it is. What are they gaining from it? Or when they sign up to your email list, they will be updated. I mean, I sign up to a few email lists about like what's happening in London, what's happening in Accra, where are the best places to go, what sport parties are happening, extra. I know that that's the value, that every Friday or every Thursday I get, I still get it actually. When I was a student, I signed up when I lived in the UK. I get on a Thursday night, here are the things that are happening over this weekend in London, right? So for me, that's the value. So be very clear on the value, because if you require people to sign up, in certain countries there are data protection rules and things like that. If you require people to sign up for it, then be very clear on the value you're giving them. Also, have a strong call to action. What I mean with a call to action is, what do you want people to do when they read your email? Do you want them to buy from you? Do you want to set up a meeting? Do you want them to know about your product? Do you want to, do you want them to believe in your product? I don't know what you want them to do, but be very clear in that email, right? I'm asking for a meeting, or I'm asking you, I think about a week ago, I got an email. It's really, really long. I can't remember who it was. Really, really long. But I was like, what did this person want from me? Because they said they had this long thing about, we want partnership with Women in Tech Africa. But they never quite explained what that partnership meant. So I read this really long 4 or 5 paragraph email that literally said, I want a partnership, but never explained it. And I actually never got back to the person, because I thought, okay, I don't know that they are sure of what they want. So be very, very clear. Your call to action must be very, very clear. Also, personalize the interaction. So make people feel like, if you're using like a email tool like MailChimp or these ones where you can just load a lot of emails and shoot an email out, don't do this dear friend email. Like, I won't mind you. A lot of people won't mind you. Dear friend, dear whatever. No, personalize the email. Dear Mr. whatever. Dear Miss, put their name in there. Sometimes put their company name in there. Personalize it so that when they get that email, they feel a sense of it's directed towards me, right? So I have, there's a tool that I use which is drip.co. It's www.drip.co. Now, what I've done there is you take the details, the person's name, last name, email, company, position, and then I have a little space where I also store maybe the latest thing I've heard about the company. So even though the email is structured, there are certain points where it's, oh, you know, hello, Mr. So and so, hello, Madam so and so. You know, I hope you are doing well, extra. Then I talk about, you know, we're a company that supports organizations like, then I put the name of the company in there. Or I hear that you are growing. In the last few weeks, I saw in the news that you are growing and expanding across Africa. And I understand that by doing that, you will need a bigger sales team. And I wanted to share with you a sales management tool that we have built that could be useful to helping you monitor your sales manager so that you can get higher sales returns. You see, you personalize it. So be very personalized in sending your emails. And I've already talked about the automation tools, right? So there's MailChimp, so MailChimp.com, which is the most, I think, used one. There are CRM tools, so customer relationship management tools that are online. I think there's Sugar CRM, a few other ones. There's a list ones, and then there is Drip.co. Drip.co is paid, but I use it. It's paid, but I use it because I think it's about $49 a month. I really like it because it means that I can set up, I can also set up a workflow. So if the person clicks on this link, tag them here and put them in this campaign. I can be more flexible with my email campaign. So it's not just sending a bunch of emails, but based on the behavior, how they interact with the emails. Then I can also automate that process. So I like them. So if you want to do email campaigns, maybe look at the email automation tools like Drip.co, or you know, it takes up a lot of time. So email campaigns, so those are pretty good, and I use them quite well. Let's talk about social selling. So your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your WhatsApp, those are all important. So I have something like 12,000 followers, or I don't know, on LinkedIn it's called connections or network. 12,000 on LinkedIn. I have 6,000 on what do you call it? Twitter. And then I think I have about 2.5 on like the Facebook page, 2,500 on the Facebook page, and a few others. And I use most of them to leverage. I leverage on that to make sure that my authority or my expertise in Africa technology and innovation is very, very clear, and I leverage on that. So in order to become an effective social seller, you have to do a few things. You have to establish your professional brand, right? So make sure people know who you are, what you're thinking, especially if you're using your social media channels to sell. So when you're filling out your bios and things, really think about the customer that you're selling to, and then craft the bio to actually meet the customer's needs there. Also, publish meaningful posts. Okay, so LinkedIn for me is the strongest social selling tool that I use. Like my Instagram, for instance, I feel like it's more personalized to me. I don't use it very much to sell, so I think it's maybe, I don't know that I even have something like 1,000 people on it, something like that. But those are personalized, right? So that's personal, so I can post whatever there. But if you're going to be using the channel for social selling, then you've got to be really clear how you're posting and what you're posting. I'm not saying don't post funny things. I'm just saying post meaningful posts. Also use your social channels as you go to find the right people. So on Twitter, for instance, hashtags and things like that, research that so you can find the people that are talking about a particular topic, and then you can reach out, connect with them. Sometimes connect to authorities in your field or people who are also subject matter in your field and reshare their content. That way you are also sort of being part of the community. Then discover sort of groups, you know, like Facebook groups, Facebook pages that have conversations that are worthwhile. LinkedIn also has groups, and then join those conversations. It might be, you know, you might answer somebody's question once a while, that sort of thing. That's helpful. I now have a dedicated WhatsApp group for the Ethel Cofie Startup School, and as of this morning, there's 177 people in the group. It's ridiculous. 177 people in the group, and every Thursday morning, before I share the contents here, I actually share the content on the WhatsApp group, and we discuss it and we talk about it. So about 170 across, I think, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria. There's a lot of London people here, so African diaspora. And then I learn from it a little bit and I bring that back. So, you know, use your channels to open up and strengthen, grow your channel so that you have a bit of reach. So once you are an authority, then it's easier. It's so much easier for people to trust you and buy from you. Okay. So then the next thing is phone calls, cold calling. You don't know the person, you have the person's number, you call them. Now, direct phone calls, not a lot of people like to do it. And I personally, I prefer warm phone calls. So I maybe go to LinkedIn and have a conversation with them on LinkedIn, and then ask for a meeting and ask for a phone number, and then I will call them. But some people, I have some salespeople in my team that like to call people cold calling. If you are the sort of person that likes cold calling, that's absolutely fine. But the first thing you must do is you must focus on the goal. So why are you calling the person, right? Sometimes I get calls and halfway I'm annoyed at what the person is saying. I'm saying, look, I've got to go, bye, right? So be very clear. Are you trying to get a meeting? Are you trying to get an email address? Are you trying to get the name of the CEO? Be very, very clear on what you want to do. The next thing, research the audience, right? Research who you're trying to reach out to. Understand who they are, what market they are in, what industry they are in. Also improve, like I said, improve your chances by connecting with them on social media. So if they're already connected with you and maybe they've seen you on social media, I get more meetings on LinkedIn just because they've seen all my LinkedIn posts or they've seen me somewhere on social media. And so when I reach out, people say, oh, yeah, of course I know who you are. So it's simpler. Also prepare an opening statement. This is really serious. Because the first 5 seconds, most people, if you irritate most people in the first 5 seconds of the call, they're most likely to log off. So prepare your opening statement. Talk about, you know, don't say, people will say, oh, is it a good time to talk? You're giving the person an opportunity to say, no, it's not a good time to talk. I will talk, bye, I want to go. So just quickly introduce yourself and quickly talk about your product and how it solves their problem, and then ask what you want, right? So there's an example here. So say, good afternoon, Mrs. Cofie. This is, you know, or good afternoon, Mr. Usu. This is Ethel Cofie from Ethel Technology Consulting. I read recently in a newspaper that you had increased your sales team, and I run a company that specializes in building software for managing sales so that you can hit your targets faster and be able to track your salesmen. So in that 5 seconds, you've told them. Before if they're interested, they'll stay. If not, they'll say, I don't need it, and we'll move on. Also prepare a script for the rest of the call. So be clear about the benefits of your product, right? Be very, very clear about the benefits or otherwise. And then the objections. So people might say, oh, I don't need a sales management system. I have Excel sheets. Prepare all those answers so that when the person wants to continue the conversation, you can quickly answer them. And then be specific. So if you want an appointment, can we meet Wednesday at 11 a.m. at your office, right? Or can I get your email so I can send you more marketing material? So those are be very, very specific about it. Some people say there are good times and bad times to make a call. I don't know. Don't call me on a Monday, right? So I know I don't get people. I don't ask people. I normally say don't call people on a Wednesday, on a Monday. Maybe call them Tuesday afternoon through to Thursday, because Fridays people check out. So if you're calling somebody to sell on a Friday, maybe they're not in the first frame of mind. So I think, from my experience, I don't know, it depends by country, but Tuesday afternoon to Thursday afternoon, most people are open to also be persistent. According to research, most people will buy averagely after 5 connections. So if you email them once, you email them twice, and they don't respond, change tact and email them again. Be persistent if you want that sale. And then let's go to face-to-face meetings. So face-to-face meetings, just like email, just like phone calls, you've got to prepare. You've got to understand. If you've gotten that meeting, you've got to understand who you're going to talk to. Like, don't get into that meeting and begin to ask about business models or the company's pain points. I mean, call around, right? I remember years ago when I tried to get a job in a certain company, we were negotiating the how much I was supposed to pay. I called other people in the company and then try to get information about, you know, this level at this rate, what do they offer, how much is it, so that I knew what the high level was, right? I know what the ceiling was from the brand that I was in, and we're closing very soon, where the ceiling was. And then from there, you can then sort of have leeway to negotiate. So know the customer's pain points, know the business model, know the results that you want to provide the customer, and make a list of 10 to 15 questions you want to ask the customer. So that it will give you a bit more sort of insights. When you're going into a meeting, don't think about the first face-to-face meeting as a sales meeting. Think of it as a getting to know you meeting, because there will be things in that meeting you will hear that will make your RFP better. So listen to what they're saying. Maybe they're trying to sell a sales management system, and what they want is a self-service system. That's fine. So go there and actually listen and understand and see if it will fit. And during the meeting, again, listen. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you have to listen twice as much as you speak. Let the client talk. Just ask open-ended questions. Let the client talk. Let the client keep giving you information. That information you will use to then sell a better product back to them. So we've gone through quite a bit of sales weapons, right? So we've done the digital sales, which is the email, email and the selling. We talked about direct. So we talked about direct. We talked about face-to-face. So these are but a few. There's more, but I think these are the major ones that most people use. These are but a few of the weaponry, or I say the arsenal of sales weapons that you have. You can use a mixture of them and see how you can drive more sales into your I hope that you've learned quite a bit from this week on just how to deploy and prepare for your sales meetings. For years, I went to sales meetings. You know, I just checked the person's details on LinkedIn and go to sales meetings. That's not how to go to a sales meeting. You have to do your proper research. You've got to make sure when you walk into the room, you know everything there is to know about that company. And I hope that all these lessons will help you become a better salesperson, grow your business, and make more money, because that's important. If you want to reach out to me, you can go to www.ethelcofie.com, and I think you can sign up for the 10-week entrepreneurial school there. Or you can at Ethel Cofie on Twitter, or at Ethel Cofie on Instagram, or search Ethel Cofie on LinkedIn. I have like 12,000 people, so I don't know. So it's quite a reach. And then where else? Yes, on Facebook, you search for Ethel G. Cofie, and you should be able to reach me. If you have thoughts, ideas on things I should talk about, or questions, just email them, contact@Ethel Cofie. I'm not going to read them personally, but somebody in my team will read them, and we will work on incorporating it into the lesson. So it's exciting to talk to you. Enjoy the rest of the week and go and implement all the sales weaponry that you've been taught. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Sell it to them.